Coming up on the October 25th edition of Carolina Week.
A longtime Chapel Hill teacher is on paid leave and under police investigation.
A musical legend brings his band of rhythm and blues to the Carolina campus.
And on Carolina Week Sports, see if R&B could mean record-breaking for the men's soccer team.
Plus, weathercaster Aaron Moore will have our 4-day forecast.
Those stories and more.
Carolina Week starts now.
From the School of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, this is Carolina Week.
Good evening, I'm Courtney Robinson.
And I'm Joe Mott. Thanks for joining us.
Chapel Hill police are investigating theft in the Chapel Hill Carrboro City Schools.
Carolina Week's RJ Weber is in the studio with more. RJ?
A veteran teacher with the Chapel Hill Carrboro City Schools won't be in her classroom anytime soon. In fact, some speculate she'll never have to write a student's name on the chalkboard again. That's because this time around, she's the one in trouble. Folks at Frank Porter Graham Elementary School in Chapel Hill are still in shock after learning that police recently arrested 30-year veteran second-grade teacher Wendelin Frierson on felony larceny charges. It all began when the school's Parent-Teacher Association noticed that something fishy was going on with one of its fundraising projects. And according to Chapel Hill Police Department spokesperson Jane Cousins, that's when the school took action.
At the end of August, we received a report from staff at Frank Porter Graham Elementary School that grocery store gift certificates had been stolen from an office.
The PTA got those gift certificates to stores such as Lowe's Foods and Whole Foods Market at a 5% discount. The PTA then planned to sell them to parents at full price and keep the profit. But police say someone had other ideas.
On October 8th, we received a call from the Durham Police Department that somebody had attempted to use one of those gift certificates at a Lowe's grocery store in Durham, and I guess it had been inactivated, or somehow they could tell that it was not valid.
And thanks to some quick thinking by the cashier, police think that somebody was Frierson.
When the clerk told the customer that he couldn't take it, she went out to her car, the clerk went out, got her license number, and we were able to track it down to Ms. Frierson.
Orange County PTA Representative Becky Johnson hopes the students will still learn something from their teacher.
Well, they'll certainly probably see her in a whole different light and probably lose a lot of respect for her, and maybe it'll help them decide to be more honest in their lives.
The total value of the gift certificates, about $2,000. We tried to contact officials at the school and at the superintendent's office, but no one wanted to talk on camera. Joe?
RJ Weber reporting from the newsroom. Thanks, RJ.
The Orange County Board of Commissioners is continuing discussions concerning a new central library, and it looks as if Hillsborough might be the new destination. The board has hopes of providing a larger selection and more resources for Orange County residents. More computers and books are just a few of the expansions the task force is asking for. Members are also recommending that the new library more than triple the size of the current library, which should give visitors more than enough room for reading.
Seniors have started playing Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo. What are they choosing? Well, they're choosing their senior class gift. Class leaders have been out in the quad giving out free pizza and handing out flyers describing each of the gift ideas. This year's seniors can choose from 4 different options. Senior class President Becca Frooks says seniors should think long-term when they vote.
I think they need to think about, like, what's the kind of legacy they want to leave on this campus. That's really what this gift is. You know, from years to come, they can come back to this school and they can think about what they left.
This year's options include a travel service scholarship for 1 or more students to start a service project in another country, a fund to purchase North Carolina artwork each year that would be displayed across campus, a 9/11 memorial garden to honor the 6 UNC alumni who died in the attacks, and a student television station that would let student groups advertise for upcoming events. For more information about the gifts and voting instructions, visit the senior class website at seniors.unc.edu.
Carolina students are gearing up for the excitement of homecoming week with the soulful sounds of one R&B legend. Up-and-coming musician John Legend played for more than 600 students at the George Watts Hill Alumni Center Sunday night. The concert featured opening performances from the UNC a cappella group Harmonix and Carolina's own American Idol contestant Charlie Lowry. Legend says his music combines classic soul and hip-hop and draws from the styles of artists like Marvin Gaye and Smokey Robinson.
It's soulful, it's hip-hop, it's all that. You know, it's like a mixture of classic soul, hip-hop, gospel a little bit. And it's ultimately, I think it's feel-good music.
Legend has worked with artists like Kanye West, Lauryn Hill, and Jay-Z, but this is his first solo tour. His album, Get Lifted, comes to stores in December.
Students won't get to enjoy relaxing on Labor Day next year. The Academic Calendar Committee and the University Registrar have decided to hold classes on Labor Day next fall. The factors that led to the decision included the desire to match UNC Chapel Hill calendar with those at Duke and NC State, hold commencement on a weekend not close to Christmas, spread out exams, start classes August 30th, 2005, and provide Monday off before the first day of classes. Officials say they hope not starting classes until August 30th next year will be a good trade-off for students having to be in class on Labor Day. University staff members will have the day off because it's a federal holiday.
Well, Election Day is nearing.
And lots of Orange County residents have decided not to head to the polls on that day.
Because of early voting, many of our friends and neighbors have already cast their ballots.
Where's the whole week? Where's the whole week? Hey, excuse me? Excuse me, sir. Something wrong? Yeah, there's something wrong. You want to get me some whole wheat? Oh, come on. Hey, hey, amigo. Hey, I asked you for whole wheat bread. This is not what I wanted. El Wheato.
Sorry for the confusion.
You know, that's the problem with these people. If you want to serve Americans, you got to learn to speak the language. You know what I'm saying?
No, sir. I don't. Enjoy your lunch.
Imagine the power of one voice. Click freedomcenter.org to find yours.
The election is about a week away, but you don't have to wait to make your pick at the ballot box. Many Orange County residents are heading to the Moorhead Planetarium to cast their votes ahead of the November 2nd Election Day. Monday was the 7th day Orange County residents lined up to fill in the ballot, and as of late that afternoon, about 6,200 people had voted at Moorhead. Anyone registered to vote in the county can go to the planetarium to vote.
One issue that could be bringing people to the polls in such numbers is the rising cost of fuel. The pinch at the pumps isn't going away anytime soon. The price of oil futures for light sweet crude, which becomes gasoline, topped $55 per barrel this week. That sets a new high in a series of record prices. One barrel costs 70% more now than at the beginning of the year, and that's leading to higher and higher pump prices.
Well, the price of gas might be rising, but that didn't stop North Carolinians from flocking to the state fair. State fair officials reported more than 836,000 fairgoers. That's the second highest attendance in the history of the state fair. Officials say they usually expect an average of 7,000 visitors. The high attendance could be attributed to the ability to buy tickets in advance, the new Midway provider, or the increased number of rides.
But just because the fair is over doesn't mean there aren't any more reasons to go to Raleigh. People are lining up at the North Carolina Museum of Art for the Matisse, Picasso, and School of Paris exhibit. The exhibit opened October 10th and runs through January 16th. In its first week, the exhibit attracted almost 7,000 visitors. The exhibit features 74 works by a variety of artists, but the focus is on the work of French modernists Matisse and Picasso. Communication Officer Jennifer Bayes says the added work fills the gap in the museum previously had in its collection.
It's the first time these works have ever been in North Carolina and really in the Southeast. So normally what people would have to drive to Baltimore, Washington, or Chicago or New York to see, they can see right here in Raleigh.
And if you're looking for some lighter fare, the North Carolina Museum of History is displaying clothes that pop singer Clay Aiken wore during one of his performances on American Idol. A general admission ticket at the North Carolina Museum of Art is $12. Admission to the North Carolina Museum of History is free.
Students, faculty, and residents have one more reason to go to the library these days, and it's not to study. The North Carolina Collection Gallery opened for visitors recently. The gallery opened is part of the 75th birthday celebration for Wilson Library. Library staffers showed off a 1491 copy of Dante's The Divine Comedy and other rare books and documents prior to the gallery opening. The gallery is open to the public 7 days a week and admission is free.
The abortion debate is one of many hot topics to hit campus lately. Anti-abortionist Scott Klusendorf and abortion rights supporter Reverend Catherine Ragsdale were supposed to debate each other recently. Instead of debating, the speakers split up, and there were rumors that abortion rights supporters were going to fill this Murphy Hall auditorium early and walk out during the Klusendorf speech. Abortion rights supporters didn't walk out, but did set up camp, blocking entrances into the speech and letting people know where Ragsdale was speaking. Carolina student Luke Farley doesn't resent the protesters, but wishes there had been a debate.
I mean, certainly everybody has the right to protest and disagree. I really think their energy would have been better spent trying to convince their speaker to come here and actually debate Scott, as opposed to just protesting his appearance here tonight.
Ragsdale decided not to debate Klusendorf when he wouldn't agree to refrain from showing images of aborted fetuses on this big screen. Ragsdale says such images are misleading and deceptive.
In an ideal world, teenagers wouldn't drink alcohol or drive under the influence, but some do, and one Chapel Hill high schooler is developing a proposal to combat it. Currently, students can catch UNC's P2P along a scheduled route. Under Chrissy Paradise's proposal, teenagers would call a 1-800 number for a safe and sober ride home. The focus of her program, however, isn't the ride, it's a contract parents and students sign ensuring they're talking about alcohol use. But the founder of the Committee for Alcohol and Drug-Free Teenagers isn't sold on the idea. Dale Pratt Wilson worries the assurance of a ride might make underage drinking a bigger problem.
It's not really dealing with the fundamental problem. It's sort of like almost like closing the barn door after the horse is out. What I would advocate for is ways to eliminate or reduce underage drinking, not deal with the problem after they've already been involved in the risky behavior.
Solutions is the theme of a third and final community forum on teenage drinking. It will be at 7 p.m. Tuesday night in Chapel Hill Town Hall. Weathercaster Aaron Moore joins us now. Aaron?
Well, it hasn't been cold the past few couple days, but it's been kind of dreary outside.
Yes, we've definitely had our share of overcast skies, and I'll let you know if that's going to continue when we return.
Hey, kid, what's shaking besides me?
Dad, there's something wrong with the fridge.
What? Ooh, a snack.
Got energy hogs in your house? Now you have the power to do something about them. Log on to energyhog.org. Because nobody likes an energy hog.
Hey, they got Charlie! Who cares?
What do you get when you cross a soprano with a cardiologist? Someone who'll sing their heart out. Just what they're doing at a local community theater. See, the Sopranos Choir and the Cardiologist Hospital contacted their community coalition and started a children's theater. They knew busy kids are less likely to try drugs. And that's music to everyone's ears. What can your group do? Contact your community coalition at helpyourcommunity.org. Because you get more
when you get together.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Carolina Week. I'm weathercaster Aaron Moore here with a check of your weather headlines. If you've been outside at all this afternoon, you notice that the clouds are gone. We are going to definitely return to sun for at least a day or so. I'll have more on that in a little bit, but definitely our temperatures are going to be normal this week. We're not going to see anything too drastic as far as high temperatures or low temperatures. As we take a look at the satellite map, you can see this area of low pressure down here over Texas. This was originally thought to be turning into a tropical depression, but all that we're going to see from it is that the southwest and into Texas is going to get a lot of rain from that. We see this clearing skies back here in the Midwest, and this is going to be playing a part for us in the next couple of days as it's an area of high pressure that's going to be coming through tomorrow morning. As we take a look at the surface map, see this is a cold front. It's definitely a very weak cold front because this area of high pressure up here is going to dominate and push through that and break up the cold front. So we'll see a little bit of cloudiness this afternoon and into this evening, but we're not going to see any drastic change in our temperatures. As we head to the fall foliage forecast, we see that western North Carolina is at peak, which means that 75 to 100% of the leaves have changed. In central North Carolina, we are near peak, which means 30 to 50% of our leaves have changed. As we go to the 4-day forecast, You see, Tuesday and Wednesday, we're going to see some sunny skies. Our highs are going to be in the low to mid 70s, with our overnight lows in the upper 40s into low 50s. Thursday, we're going to have some return to cloudiness, and we have about a 40% chance of showers for Thursday. As we go to Friday, we'll have a high of about 68 with a low of 51, and the sunny skies return. So we're going to have a little better weather this week than we did last week, so not as much dreariness this week.
Well, Erin, thank you so much for that lovely forecast. Sports anchor Luke Notestein joins us now.
Luke, what can we expect for this weekend with Miami?
Well, it's going to be an exciting game. It's definitely the most tough test that the Tar Heels have faced so far, with the Hurricanes coming in the number 3 ranked team in the nation. It's going to be interesting to see how the Tar Heels fare in this game.
Sure will.
And speaking of the ACC, that leads us to our trivia question for the week, which is the only school ever to drop out of the ACC? Was it Georgia, South Carolina, Florida, or Tennessee? I'll let you know that answer in a few, but first, we have the fight for the top spots in the conference. Earlier in the year, the Tar Heels and Wolfpack squared off on the football field in what was a no-holds-barred street fight. Sunday, the Wolfpack returned to Chapel Hill looking for a little revenge on the other football field. Well, both teams came out playing like they had pads on, and yeah, that might leave a little bit of a mark. Even the keeper gets taken down on this free kick. And speaking of Ford Williams, he knocks the ball off the crossbar on this shot with a state bicycle and some training wheels. Rebounds goes over the goal. Then the Heels already up by 1. Andrew Ray's shot partially blocked, but Corey Ash, well, he doesn't dance. He just pulls up his pants and does the rock away. A lean back. He leans back. This puts the Heels up 2-0, where they'd stay for the rest of the game. Coach Elmar Bolovich credits his goalie for helping the Heels win their 4th game in a row.
Ford Williams, he made in the first half 2 unbelievable saves, pulled them out of the upper 90 close range shots. You know, that's the type of stuff that makes a guy bigger, that makes him better, that gives a team confidence when somebody can do that.
Number 2, they're still ranked number 2. The women's soccer team railed 14th ranked Florida State Thursday 4-0. Sophomore sensation Heather O'Reilly almost single-footedly took over the Seminoles, scoring a hat trick and stacking up 12 goals for the season. With their 15th win, O'Reilly and the Heels clinched the ACC regular season title and the top spot for the conference tourney starting on Halloween. Well, there's another variety of men's soccer that's making noise this year at Chapel Hill. Some of these players are talented enough to earn spots on the varsity squad. Where are they, you might ask? Well, sports reporter Tyree Barnett has the answer.
Senior Jeremy Perrell loves soccer. He's played since the age of 5, but when he came to UNC, Perrell didn't try out for the men's varsity team. Soccer wasn't his main priority.
I didn't really want to come out for the varsity team. I didn't think I wanted to make the time commitment, and I figured that being a biology major, I'd have a lot of labs and class time to spend doing that kind of stuff, and there were other things I was interested in.
So Perrell decided to play club soccer. He's now the club soccer president. The team has tryouts, practices, and games just like the varsity team.
We have 3 practices a week: Monday for about an hour and a half, Wednesday for about an hour and a half, and then Friday afternoon for about 2 hours. And we like to keep going as long as we can, so sometimes practices go about 2.5 hours.
UNC's club soccer team travels to most of its games. These include cities like Washington, D.C., schools like Clemson in South Carolina, and soccer fields like SAS Soccer Field here in Cary, North Carolina. Co-captain Bobby Menifee says UNC's club soccer team is still for serious players who choose not to play varsity.
By having club, you find a group of guys who are motivated and are essentially dedicated to playing soccer full-time outside of their academic endeavors.
However, club soccer isn't varsity. It's a happy medium for the dedicated player with other responsibilities at school. In Cary, I'm Tyree Barnett, Carolina Week Sports.
UNC Heels men club soccer team won the regional tournament this weekend in Cary, earning an automatic bid and a #1 seed for the National Collegiate Tournament in Austin, Texas. The tournament is November 18th through the 21st and hosts the top 24 college club teams in the country. Intensity, rivalry, and heart. Sometimes the play on Hooker Fields reads like a page out of Friday Night Lights. Now find out what it's like on the dark side under those lights without a cheering section and sporting stripes. Carolina Week Sports is back after this.
Tarzan, Lord of the Jungle, King of the Apes, father of Boy. He knows what it takes to be a dad. go for a ride. You take a swim. You hang out. All it takes is time. Hey, it doesn't take a hero, but it takes a man to be a dad.
I did not say that. Oh, no. Right. Honey, it's written all over that outfit. Okay. I will sleep with someone on the first date. I knew it. But that's only if I know that he's not going to be there only for one night. Are you going to take it out?
Excuse me, ladies. Have you been tested for HIV?
Tested? You don't mean like each time. Oh, no.
Like how often?
Do you get tested?
They are great. Well, yeah, that's Kellogg's Frosted Flakes, but I'm also talking about the Tar Heel women's volleyball team, which took on the Clemson Tigers on Friday. Fans were out in full force and excited to be there. Yeah, nice hat, buddy. Katie Wright and Molly Piles were determined to get nasty, and get nasty the Tar Heels did. Off the Tigers' weak hit, Molly Piles with the slam bam, thank you, ma'am. Then Caroline DeRoque with a great dig, and Piles again pile drives this one. Well, there's a pattern here, folks, as DeRoque again with a nice dig, and Piles takes a little bit off this one, a nice little change up. The real story here was Caroline DeRoque, who set a career mark on the night with 33 digs, leading the Heels to victory in 4 games and improving their record to 12-10 overall and 7-3 in the ACC.
We all need to be talking to each other, just keeping each other positive, stay positive, you know, keep each other's heads up. Make sure we all talk to each other. So and especially tonight, coming back from those 2 losses that we had last weekend that were pretty heartbreaking losses, I think we did a good job in doing that.
Well, from the Tigers to the Bumblebees, the ACC leading Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets came out strong Saturday against Carolina. It's a back-and-forth match, but the Yellow Jackets take the first 2 games as Ulrich Stegman and the Twin Towers of Jamie Jergen and Laura Kuhn sting the Heels. Well, maybe these top athletes could help. Well, maybe if they wipe the floor or something. The Heels' Molly Piles sparks Carolina with this spike, and then Danny Nienhuis gives another one of her 29 kills on the night. Fans, well, they smell a comeback as the Heels take the 3rd game. In the 4th game, Katie Wright, get up, girl! But in the end, the Yellow Jackets were too much as they beat the Heels 3-1. Despite the loss, Coach Joe Segula remains encouraged about the team's play.
Georgia Tech's an outstanding team, and they played great defense. They really dug a lot of our best shots, and they're a really efficient team. And so I think we feel okay. We fought hard and come out of this match knowing that we've had a good battle.
The Heels have a chance to get back on track with a home match against Davidson Tuesday night at 7. And it's official. We're going to be seeing more of Georgia Tech, Virginia Tech, and Miami, at least in football. 2 new divisions will take effect when Boston College enters the conference July 1st. There will be an Atlantic division and a coastal division. In football, teams will play all 5 opponents in their own division, plus 1 primary crossover in the opposite division. NC State is Carolina's primary crossover. Teams will also play 2 rotating opponents from the opposite division. With these additions comes a new logo from the 6 separate states to the outline of the Eastern Seaboard to include New England. The 12-team ACC will also have a championship game in Jacksonville, Florida. The number 2 field hockey team is looking forward to their ACC tournament. After an overtime 2-1 win at Maryland on Saturday, the Heels claimed the regular season ACC title with a 4-0 record. They'll go into the tourney as the top seed. Well, the field hockey team plays its final regular season game on Saturday when the Tar Heels travel to Norfolk, Virginia to take on number 6 Old Dominion. Well, the job is not glamorous until something bad happens. Few people actually like them. Yeah, I'm talking about referees. They're unappreciated and sometimes despised at nearly every level, even intramurals. We sent sports reporter Brad McGinnity to find out what it's like to walk across campus with a target on your back.
We have a dead ball, false start on the offense, 5 yards, repeat the down.
Andrew Foster knows that call doesn't make him popular, but he's okay with that. It's the job he's chosen as an intramural football referee, and despite the occasional conflict, a job he enjoys.
I like getting involved with the teams, and most of the time it's a lot of fun to come out here and interact with them. And they know you're doing the best you can. They do the best they can. It usually ends up pretty good.
Foster and the other IM officials often go underappreciated. Their goal is to call a fair game and go unnoticed by the players they'll face in class the next morning.
But when you walk by and you see somebody on campus and they give you a look and you know exactly what that look means, it is kind of strange.
When your fellow students don their own set of black and white pinstripes, if you cross this line, even though they're not the Yankees, they're still your daddy.
Somebody once told me that they actually hoped me and my entire family died, which was not very nice. This was after he kicked the basketball all the way across Woolen Gym, so he got ejected after that.
But third-year official Lamont Council says ejections really aren't that common.
I've never tossed someone out of the game. I'm pretty lenient because I do play. I think that has an effect on it because I understand how people can get mad, and so I think my rule pretty much is like you don't use profanity, and I won't toss you out.
So avoid the profanity, stay in the game, and be as memorable as your underappreciated referee. In Chapel Hill, I'm Brad McGinnity, Carolina Week Sports.
Things could get tense now that the playoffs have started. Well, let's hope none of the players pulls a Robbie Alomar and spits in the official's face. Well, guys, we've had a lot of sports going on today, but do you remember the trivia question? What answer do you have for me today?
I think it's USC.
USC, I hear South Carolina left because they were mad that they weren't the real Carolina.
Well, I don't know if that's the reason why they left, but that is correct. They left in 1971, becoming the only team to drop out. Well, I bet they probably regret that decision.
I'm sure they do.
Well, thanks, Luke, for the sports. And it's a special place this time of year.
And if Charlie Brown were to visit this farm in Durham, he might think the great pumpkin had arrived.
We'll take you for a visit when we come back.
No one looks back fondly on the years they spent in a parking garage. When we lose a historic place, we lose a part of who we are. Help protect historic places in your community. Visit nationaltrust.org.
If you have a story idea, contact Carolina Week at 843-8292. You can also visit us online at carolinaweek.org. If you have questions about this program, write Carolina Week at Campus Box 3365, UNCCH, Chapel Hill, North Carolina, 27599.
Well, outside, the leaves are turning vivid reds and golds. You see pumpkins everywhere, and Ganyard Farm in Durham is overrun with kids every weekend. All signs that fall has officially arrived.
A rooster's call reminds Milton Ganyard that he's not working as an entomologist at RTP anymore. 10 years ago, he quit the stressful life of a scientist to cater to those who know little of 9-to-5 workdays.
We purchased it from a family that had owned it and farmed it for about 90 years. It used to be a dairy farm.
Today, it's Ganyard Hill Farm, a place you can find anything from
we found ostriches
to lots and lots of pumpkins. Ganyard's cousin Dave Gurman takes the kids on hay rides of the 60-acre property.
Kids really like to be outside, and it's, you got a lot of space around here, so I think, it gives them a certain sense of freedom. They, not running in the buildings everywhere.
Children enjoy playing on top and underneath Hay Mountain, feeding the variety of animals, and of course, finding that perfect pumpkin.
I look for the biggest pumpkin. I want a pretty one.
And that's only the start. Out here, there's almost too much to do. If you want to go to a corn maze, first you have to decide which one. Then you can start losing your way.
But this season marks the last time you'll be able to get lost in this particular maze. Economic hardships and losses due to Hurricane Fran have Ganyard operating in the red. So next year he's moving to a slightly larger farm with slightly lower overhead.
At his new location, Ganyard plans to keep the same spirit of the current farm, and maybe add a few surprises.
We do something new every year. Like 2 years ago, the Goat Bridge over there was new, and that Hay Mountain was new this year, and we're always dreaming and scheming.
Whether an infant or a toddler, the farm is clearly the place to be a kid.
Well, Joe, it certainly looks like you had a good time out there.
I certainly did. Those kids were absolutely adorable.
All right.
And I hear that you're going out there coming Wednesday to do a kind of a different take on it.
I sure am.
All right.
That does it for this edition of Carolina Week.
Thanks for watching and good night.
Good night.